was stable, there was a calendar, we knew everything that there was to know. In this day and age, today doesn't look like yesterday and will definitely not look like tomorrow. So what we do in the risk management function is to try and anticipate what possible futures could there be. Because we know the future could develop in many different ways. How can we prepare the company to survive in all those different futures? So that's the risk management function. It's a relatively young function in the way that it is constituted today, not more than 100 years old. The second is compliance that I look after. Compliance is about meeting regulation. And God knows, regulations are changing even faster than usual. Rules are changing, tax laws are changing, new regulations are coming in to counter all these risks that we see. So that second function is there to help us understand what is changing in compliance, can we meet it? And there is no university degree right now that teaches compliance. And the last one is sustainability, what we were talking about earlier. The changes in the natural world are forcing changes into our physical, personal, and corporate world. Again, it's a relatively new function, like I said, not later than the 60s, which is what, 60 years ago. So are we teaching, providing the knowledge that's required to survive this future, this uncertain future? That's a question we'll leave with you. But the business world is responding. We have to respond because survival depends on it. So that's why you'll find these new disciplines, these new areas of focus within the business world. So like Malecha said, speak to the counterparts. You're training people for us. Speak to us. What do we need? Another point of collaboration. What should we teach in the curriculum that will be useful for the investment teams, for the sustainability teams, for the risk teams? As you develop and design your curriculum, speak to us. Speak to the world that you're preparing your students for.
Thank you very much. Maybe for the benefit of the audience, we are very grateful. We are not hosting All Mutual Kenya, but we are hosting All Mutual East Africa. Kindly clap for the group. We are very privileged, the All Mutual East Africa, to join us. So my colleague, Robert, can you have a follow-up question?
Well, I just have two questions. And unfortunately, both of them will go to Mr. Maleche. Number one is when we are making investments, and we know that you are in investments, and we are also aware that quite a number of maybe our students might be pilots of Aviator. What is that one thing that one can consider, the most critical factor that you can consider before you place an investment? The second one is when you're making your presentation, there is somewhere you talked of the access to growth is faster than the knowledge. And as an institution, what are you doing to ensure that now these clients, both the current and the prospective, get this kind of information that is required to make maybe these investments?
Thank you. Tough questions. What you consider about when you make an investment. So I'll tell you two things we consider about. And when we are advising clients, we sometimes look at it as if it's our own money. Okay? So the key thing is, when do you need this money? Do you need this money today, tomorrow, next week, or can you stay without it for another 5 years? That's the key one. That's why if you notice, most of the times I've been talking about the money market fund. And you can try it. You can set as low as 1,000. Try *480#. Just try that code and see what comes up. That's what we're talking, because that has much lower risk. So the key thing is, number one, how long, when do you need your money back? If you need your money back in 2 hours, then probably it should be in your pocket. If you need your money back in 2 days, you can put it in a money market fund. If you need it in 5 years, then we can now think, where can we earn a high return? There might be risk that your 10,000 is now 7,000 shillings, but we know at the end of 5 years it will be 20,000. So now we can think longer. So that's the key thing. When do you need your money back? And then the second thing, and I'll tell you the third one, the second thing we need to ask is, would you be able to sleep at night comfortably if you lost even a shilling of this money? If you can't, then we know now your risk level is a bit lower. If you can sleep even if you lose 20%, then now we know your risk level is higher. So we can tell you, this can earn a return, but you might lose more. So we've measured your liquidity for money with just 2 questions and your risk profile. We've profiled you for risk with 2 questions. Then the third thing which is important, which I also have been finding is important as I walk down this journey of life, is what do you want to do? What's your destination? What's your goal? It is more important to have a goal than even to have cash. Because if you have a goal, then you have a destination you head to, and regardless of where you are, you'll find a way to get there. So if you're sitting here in Lukenya and you're not sure whether you want to go to Nairobi or to Mombasa, even if a truck came and it's going to Mombasa, but you didn't want to go to Mombasa, you're thinking maybe Nairobi, you will move to Mombasa, which is even further from your destination. But if you know, I really want to go to Nairobi, even if you have no money on foot, once you get to the road, you know Nairobi is this way, so you'll just keep walking towards Nairobi. So every step takes you there. Everything you do, a goal energizes you. Every day when you wake up in the morning, regardless of whether it's a good day or a bad day, you're moving closer to where you want to go. So I'd say 1, how soon do you want your money? 2, can you sleep at night if you lose some of it? 3, overall, but you don't have to think about it now, but with those 2, the third one will come, goal. And then the other question you asked, if you can repeat it? Yeah.
The second question was about the access. You had talked about, I think, access to products. Yes, and it's growing faster than the knowledge itself.
So how we are trying to manage the fact that we now have access to more products but not more information. So if you remember the question Joshua asked, where he said, can you allow us to buy single stock futures in the US? So you can buy Tesla now, but you may not have access to information on how Tesla is working, on what's happening to the EV market, but you can buy it. That couldn't happen before. Before, your access to information and your access to opportunity used to run in parallel. So how we are managing it is, the first one is via the foundation doing financial education. The second thing is, anytime anybody walks up to one of our colleagues to buy a financial product, we ask those 2 similar questions so that we make sure whatever they buy is suitable for them and fits their profile.
Thank you very much. Let me allow my panel members to ask the last questions. Yes.
The second question is, so far, what are your achievements in terms of sustainability in various sectors? So far, what are your achievements in terms of sustainability in various sectors?
Okay. Thank you for that question. What are our achievements so far? So I think from the first one, we are very, very proud of the work that we've done around financial literacy. Like I said, it's about people, putting people first, and making sure people have the knowledge they need for financial resilience. So through the program, we have managed to touch not just Lukenya University, but several universities. What's the number? 24 universities thousands of students who have gone through our financial literacy program, enhancing their knowledge and understanding of financial markets, opportunities, and how they can leverage that. Secondly, also very proud of the program that we've done with the junior secondary school. Like I said, we had a session yesterday just taking stock of the work that we have done so far. 5 counties, we had managed to train teachers and students on financial literacy. And there's a wonderful video where we hear directly from the impacted people, students, parents, teachers, saying, we used to teach these subjects, but now we have understood it and applied it in our own lives, and we see the outcome. Students, young children, speaking with confidence about how they've been able to budget and plan. They're in small chamas. These are primary, junior secondary school students who have entered chamas, who are trying small ventures simply because of the education that we've done. So we're very, very proud of the work we've done on financial literacy. On nature and conservation, we adopted a couple of, how many acres in the Aberdares? 60 acres in the Aberdares to restore that water tower. And over the last 5 years, we've successfully replanted and restored that section of the Aberdares. That is a key water tower that is supporting us in terms of reducing water stress and increasing the carbon sink that Aberdares is. So we're very proud of that work. And in terms of products that we are releasing that speak to sustainability, this year, there are a number of projects that we are working on that we'll be announcing in the course of the next 2 years or so that I think will be game changers in terms of insurance playing its rightful role in providing financial and societal resilience in the face of very grave climate change. So like I said, it's a journey we've been on, a lot of work to be done, but a lot of work that we've managed to accomplish. Thank you.
Let me welcome another panelist, the very last.
Ms. Carol. Ms. Carol, in your presentation, you talked of risks and risk management, right? So I'm asking, what are the biggest risks that are facing Old Mutual, and how is the organization handling them? What are the strategies you've put in place to compete with this risk in the market?
So maybe we'll share this one with Maleche because we sit on the same side of answering that question. So of course, macroeconomic risks right now are some of the biggest risks that we are sitting on. Remember that, and we try to manage them. So if we talk about the health product, for example, I take Margaret and I say, Margaret has this profile. I think I'll be able to cover her for X amount of money for her health risks. Tomorrow, Margaret could be hit by a bus and she'll break her leg and do extensive damage to her body that we need to cover her for. Now, I can't know that Margaret will have that risk. So there's an insurance risk that we take. And how do we mitigate against that? We try to cover many people. So we say we insure the fortunate many so that we can cover the unfortunate few. Now, if those few become too many, then also that's an insurance risk to us. We are now carrying all of the risk. So when we have widespread floods across the whole of Kenya, that's a big risk to us. Because in our mathematics, we had said, it's unlikely that everywhere in Kenya will flood at the same time. Maybe Kisumu will flood, but Nairobi will be fine. So the fortunate many of Nairobi will help to cover the unfortunate few in this other area. So these wide-scale natural events are a huge risk for us as well. Huge outbreaks are a big risk to us as well. That's what's covered under insurance risk. The third risk, again, I would say is operational risk. We live amongst people who are fallible, people who also are desperate for money, people who want to defraud us, people who make mistakes, and some of those mistakes can be big mistakes. Somebody in Maleche's team can make a small error, put a comma instead of a full stop in calculating a number, and that error can be huge. That's called an operational risk. Again, you can't plan for that. And so looking at our processes, our systems, our people, anti-fraud are some of the things that we have to put in place to manage those risks. So I would say those are the three big risks we're looking at as Old Mutual. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Maybe the other one to add, which you may not see it when you live in the moment, is also what we call geopolitical risk. In that, countries change, events change, all right? And where we sit as Kenya, we are tied to certain countries. So what happens in those countries will eventually impact us as positively or negatively. So if you look at Middle East, whatever happens there tends to impact us positively or negatively, because most of our fuel comes from there. If you look back in history, and that's why sometimes investments is multidisciplinary, the coastal strip of Kenya was part of the Sultanate of Oman. All right? So those connections are still there. So whatever happens across the world tends to carry across. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me invite Joshua. Joshua is the CEO of Munge Finance. So you can, don't just one second about Munge Finance, and then you will ask your last question. The CEO, we are all seated with the CEO, who is also one of our students. Let's clap for him. Yes.
Thank you so much. Munge Finances is a youth group. We are now rebranded to call ourselves Next Gen Entrepreneurs. Our core, or rather mission specifically, is to ensure people are financially literate and help students open businesses of their own. We started 2 years ago. We currently have 130 members, 50 of which are saving, and they have accumulated over 200,000 in savings. We have given out loans up to 7,000. That was last year, and this year we hope to double it. And my last question is this. There's an opportunity when it comes to affordable housing. How can the youth monetize this opportunity to grow their wealth? That's my question.
Yes, there's opportunity for housing. The easiest way for now, the products that are there, the only easy way for the youth to monetize it is by getting the contracts that will come off affordable housing. Because if you listen to what the government has said, they have said those contracts will be localized, all right, and will be shown to the various localities. That's the easiest way. Further down the road, and I'm saying further down the road because all these discussions people have talked about, when you hear policy being mentioned, but it's not yet there. Further down the road, there are likely to be financial products that allow the youth to invest into affordable housing. But we are not yet there. Right now, the basic one is this, as long as the government keeps its promise of saying it will localize those contracts.
Thank you very much. And maybe the last one is a request for Old Mutual. We normally have our financial education program every October. And I believe this October you'll also come. Kindly we request you to come over and over again. And maybe for your information, as a university, we are the first university in Kenya, if not in Africa, to launch an ambitious program of 10 million trees in 5 years. We also request you to partner with us. And last but not least, we also request you to have an MOU with us, especially the School of Business, so that we can have internship programs to our students and also attachment opportunity. And more so, we have realized that Old Mutual, you have really changed the way you handle your core mandate. We thought you are only in business, but we have realized you are in environment, you are in education and everywhere. So once you want to do those research, as academia, we request the partnership. We have brain here, we can work together as a family. So maybe you can give your closing remarks and encourage the comrade. In that encouragement, you can, in brief, minutes, you tell us about yourself, your journey, and then you encourage the comrade. Thank you, as we finish this session. Thank you.
Before they make their final comments, I just have one comment. One of them is that on 20th of September, we are going to have an innovation day, and it will be a climax of the innovation week. And we have invited Kipi to be around so that they can be able to identify some of the patentable innovations that we'll have come up with as a university by our students and our staff. And because of a lot of innovations that you have come up in the financial world and in the investment world, we are requesting you to plan and come and be with us during that time. And you can also see the kind of innovations, kind of business innovations that our students in the school have come up with. So this is an invitation, an earlier invitation. Of course, you'll get the official invitation, but we have invited you in advance so that you can be aware about it. Thank you very much. We are glad to partner with you. And even before that September, we shall invite one of you to make a public lecture. Today it was a presentation, but we shall ask you to make a public lecture to all of us in this hall, but you don't have to be here. You can do it when you are in Nairobi or anywhere in East Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we get the advice to the comrades, the students? In the advice, you can also tell us about yourself shortly.
All right. Wow. It's always hard to talk about yourself. So my advice to the comrades is if there's anything you're interested in, just pursue it, have passion with it. Start with small steps. Small steps always lead to big steps. Yeah. Do it, all right? About myself, yeah, it's hard to say. Where do I start? Yeah, I started on this journey many years ago when I was a young man in the late 80s. We were in Kisumu, so we're driving down the main street of Kisumu. For those ones who know Kisumu, there is the central bank headquarters. Behind is Jaramogi Oginga Street. So there's a vendor there. It's called Ken Shop. There's a vendor right there as you go down on the left. I saw a bunch of magazines. It was the Olympics, 1988. I can't forget it, Seoul. So I saw magazines. I told my father, can you buy one for me? He said, yeah. Then he told me, do you like these magazines? So every week, he'd send his office administrator to buy a copy for me. So I started reading that. Then a few years later, when I was in high school, there was an article on investments, a guy called George Soros. I read it and I was like, what? This is what I want to do. And yeah, from there up to here. And that's why I say, if you have interest in something, just pursue it, no matter how small. Whether you're just going to upload a 30-second video on TikTok or write an article to a journal, or anything. Do it. Small steps lead to big things. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you all for the questions. So when I was in university, I studied economics and management, and it was one of those things that you just ended up doing. It seemed like the reasonable thing to do. I left work, left university, got a job in a bank, and my first boss gave me an assignment to do. She said, there's this thing I've heard about called risk management. Please do a paper and study and write a paper for me. It was the most boring assignment I had ever received in my life, the most boring. And she kept chasing me, please, I need this paper, I need this paper. I did a 30-page thesis on risk management. And to be honest, I didn't understand a thing. I had no background, it was new, so it was a very academic paper. But less than a year later, a Swedish Institute Development Agency put out a notice in the paper calling for Kenyans to apply for a course, short course on risk management study, fully paid on risk management. And again, I was, I think, a bored 20-something-year-old. I left it till the last day. And I said, let me just try. Now, because I had done that 30-page paper, I was able to speak about risk management in a way that other people were not able to. And I was one of 2 Kenyans selected to go to Sweden to learn about risk management. And there began my journey and my career in risk management, having not studied it before, but having been at the right time, at the right place, having been faithful enough to just do an assignment that didn't seem to add value at the time, and then taking a chance to actually apply. So my recommendation, my urging to you is, number one, just be faithful in the things that you're given to do. No matter how small this may seem, no matter how insignificant they seem. Just do them and do them faithfully. Number two, take risks. It was a risk to apply to go for some training that I didn't quite know and understand, but it was a risk that I took. So take risk. Then number three, be interested. Because when I landed in Sweden, I really was interested. So exactly what Stephen is saying. Take an interest and invest in it. You never know where it will take you. If you had asked me all those many years back, I don't want to say how many, because you now figure out how old I am. But if you had asked me all those many years back, where will you see yourself in 30 years? I could not have guessed. But it was just being faithful, taking a risk, and taking an interest. In terms of myself, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I have 2 children, 16 and 18. They keep me young, and thank you, Daktari, for keeping us even younger as we danced. I think, and it's been such a joy to be with you, with your energy and with your excitement in this place. And I think just keep it up as you go on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are very grateful. Let's clap for our panel members. So in this process, there are some students have texted me. They are asking me, what is this all mutual about the Faulu? They are seeing Faulu somewhere. So maybe you can, in a minute, you can just tell them the product of All Mutual. Is All Mutual Faulu? Is All Mutual an insurance firm? Is All Mutual a bank? Just in a minute, then we conclude.
Yeah. In a minute, All Mutual is a financial services group. It gives you insurance. That's why we talk of insurance, All Mutual Insurance. Then Faulu is a subsidiary of Old Mutual. It's a microfinance bank owned by Old Mutual. So all the banking services you require, you'll find at Faulu. From loans to anything else to do with banking. Then Old Mutual also has the investment arm that gives you the popular investment products. You have a money market fund, you have an equity fund. We can take over the university pension. We can manage it either from Old Mutual Investment Group, or we can manage it from the insurance side. So that is Old Mutual.
Thank you very much. Let's clap for the team. So we will allow the guests to first leave the stage. The guest, you can leave the stage. So I thank the panelists, my colleague Robert, Arkan, Catherine, and Joshua. You are great people with brilliant brain. Let's clap for them.
How you invested, how you budgeted, how you put some money aside, a savings, emergency funds. You just know what you're going to do with your cash.
Money. Money is the first word that comes to mind, of course. So what I'd say financial education is, how do you get the money and what do you do with the money?
Talks about money, like talks on how to budget, how to invest and save, talks on pension planning and stuff like that.
I would say yes, I do have habits that I have put in place, structures that I've put in place to help me ensure that I have good financial health.
I started a food business that is currently doing very well. So I'd say, apart from spending money, I also just research ways to invest money.
Okay, I'm a graphic designer. So the money I get from my hustle, I use some of it to invest in the hustle, and then some of it I save, and then some of it I use for my upkeep.
There's so much that you can do with the little money that you got.
I save and I spend. Those are the two main things. I haven't gotten a chance to really invest.
Work on just investing in my future.
I'll know better ways of actually making use of Old Mutual.
I can say I'm the best when it comes to spending money.
And one mistake I see people doing is saying that they'll wait till they get good money so that they can start investing and they can start saving.
Every young person needs this. In the world we are moving to, you need to learn how to save, how to let your money work for you.
It was exciting to learn that I can actually narrow down to what I should have, what I must have, what I have that I don't really need to use. There are things that maybe end up wasting my money for no reason. So I think, yes, I've really learned a lot, which I look forward to apply.
For most of us young people, we tend to give up when we can't see the gain. But this is a long-term game. So how do you keep that momentum? How do you keep that mindset and start young and keep investing?
Yes, because investment is about risk, I think I'll be able to take this one. But now I have more knowledge and I'll be more cautious as I do savings and investing.
It was amazing because you got to engage, like I said, from both fronts and got to hear the perspective of students and the perspective of someone trying to, bring that kind of conversations to students. Yes.